So now what I have laid out in front of me is my needle nose pliers. I cut my strip of bungee into 4 pieces, I don't know, what, about 5-6 inches long. It's probably more than what I need, but this was my last piece of bungee, so I didn't measure it too carefully. You can always give yourself a little extra to start with, but as you get the hang of it, you'll need less and less bungee to work with to restring. So there's that. Then we have our cups. These are the ones that were inside the doll's torso. And then we still have the ones that are inside each limb. So how you get them out is you're going to take your blow dryer and turn it on and heat up the limb. Super exciting. If I were good at editing, I would edit this part out. I'm about this close. Okay, super, super exciting. Once your limb starts to feel pliable, like that, I probably could have gone a little longer. Reach in with your needle nose pliers and try to grab the edge of that plastic cup and pull it right out. There you go. Just like that. Okay, so now you have your cup out from the inside of the limb. It's still nice and pliable. Some people like to do hot water so they don't worry about melting. I've done it a billion times and I know this particular blow dryer, so I kind of know what I can work with. I'm fine using the blow dryer. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take one of the cups. It doesn't matter if it's the one that you just took out or a different one, they're all exactly the same. Take one of the cups, right? Feed your bungee through it. So your rounded side is facing up, and then put a knot in the end of your bungee. Now, if you're not using the knot method, this is the point when instead of putting a knot right there, you would put your brass crimp on the end. Okay, so I don't even know where I just put my crimps down. I had them in here they are. So instead of a knot, you would slide your brass crimp on just so it's, you know, over the length of the bungee, and then clamp it down as hard as you can with the clamping portion of your pliers. I'm not doing it that way, so I'm just going to show you the knot. Okay, so I knot it as close as I can to the end of the bungee, like this. Then I pull it pretty tight, and I take my needle nose pliers and I pull it as tight as I can get it. That is the key to keeping it from unraveling quickly. Then you pull your cup down. So now you have one long piece of bungee, and then the rounded part of your cup is up against the knot. I'm going to reheat this for about 10 seconds to soften it. Alright, that's fine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I take that part. You can trim it if you want. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I trim it to about there, but I mean, it's not a problem if it's longer. Set your bungee there. If it's not pliable or warmed up enough, it won't really give and you won't be able to get that in there. You won't be able to do it with your fingers. I take my needle nose pliers and I put it inside the cup like that, and I just push. Usually it goes in easier. There you go, about like that. Usually it actually goes in easier than that. I didn't heat it up as much as I normally do because I didn't want to drive you crazy listening to the blow dryer. So anyway, it just goes right in the cup. Now remember, the rounded portion is facing down away from the opening. So that's the hollow side of the cup in there, which the first time I did it, I couldn't remember how I took it out, and I had to go online and try and figure it out. It was glorious. So now you have one partially restrung leg. Now you're going to take, let's see, 544. Okay, now you're going to take your torso, right? Obviously, the ties are in the back, so face it forward. Make sure you put your leg on the right way. And you see the hole right there in the leg cavity? Feed your bungee through the hole. Then go down through the neck. There you have it. And just grab that bungee. Now you don't just tie the knot right now. You have to remember to put another cup on over top of it. It's a tight fit. Sometimes you need to trim it. If you need to trim it on an angle so that it's kind of pointy so it goes through easier, I do that too. There you go. Okay, so now we have the cup, and it's right against that plastic leg opening. Now again, if you're using the clamp method, instead of tying a knot, this is the point at which you would feed your clamp down, press it taut against here, pull your bungee, and crimp it. I'm using the knot method, so we're not going to mess with the crimps. So what I do, here's my method, okay, and I'm really fast at it because I've done it a lot, but I'll show you how I do it. This is the important part. I think this is probably why people think that they don't get as good of results with knotting, but you don't just knot it and pull it tight. What I do is I pull it really quite tight, not as tight as it goes because you don't want so much tension in there that the cups kind of like slip around and get lodged weird, but I pull it quite tight, about like so, and I hold my bungee with my needle nose. Then with my other hand, you can enlist somebody else's help if you can't do it one-handed like I can. I just make a knot right against the needle nose, and I hold the knot against the needle nose pliers as I tighten it, so the knot kind of rolls down towards the joint instead of pulling it, just pulling it tight upwards. And when you don't hold the knot will kind of migrate up as it tightens, so I prefer to keep my two fingers above it and pull. Then once it's done, I pull again. Just like that. And I trim it about like so. And there you have one restrung limb. It won't dangle, don't worry. It's all good. Then you're just going to go through and do the same thing to all the rest of the limbs, one at a time. I start with both legs, and I'll pick up the next video as I start restuffing. So anyway. Thanks. Bye-bye.